Lake Eildon is Victoria's premier native species fishery. I recently caught up with Marc Ainsworth to check out the quality of the golden perch fishing. My mate here, Marc Ainsworth, works for Victorian Fisheries and has a lot to do with stocking of golden perch, and he had a lot to do with the million Murray cod stocking from 2010 through to 2012.
Yep.
Got him?
Got weight. Yep, it's a fish. Just a vertical jig, Billy.
Well, they're straight under the boat. What a great fish, eh? He's got a bit of colour on him too.
So that's a
Look at that.
kilo and a half of Eildon yellow, 4 or 5 years old maybe. You can hold these yellow belly in the mouth, they don't have teeth. Don't do it with the Murray cod, but with the Goldens it's a great way to stay away from their gill rakers and let them go. So those arches, Bill, some of those are a third of the way up from the bottom in 9.5 metres.
Right on that point where we sounded them up before. And that golden has taken a purple deep diver, in this case a Preditech. He's nailed that fair and square. Nice fish, Mark.
A nice fish.
Not as big as some of them.
No, but they're in Eildon in numbers, Bill.
Yeah, they are.
200,000 yellows a year is the typical summer stocking, and that's probably since the mid-90s or 2000s, so there's a couple of million Goldens in here.
Yep.
We'd seen those on the sounder, Bill, and 30 seconds later, whammo. It's nice when a plan comes together like that. I'm guessing another golden. It's got a bit of weight to it. It could be a nice one.
Same lure again.
Same lure, taking a bit of line. And out here they can't do you much harm, so I've loosened off the drag. I haven't got a lot of colour yet, but I think it's a better fish. Oh, it is. Followers, multiples. Look at them.
Typical behaviour of fish that are paired up. It is completely focused on its partner. Bang, saw the boat,
and
gone.
that might be it. So I'll get this one
I'll grab this one for you.
That one's in better nick, and that's a nicer fish.
That's a cracker, mate.
That is a nice one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Close to 2 kilos, 5 or 6 years of age, much better condition than that last one, Bill. Followed in by more than one fish, I think, initially, and then one right underneath it. I mean, it couldn't have been closer to it.
Yeah. Now, obviously they're pairing up to spawn, or trying to spawn. They can't spawn in a lake, but it doesn't mean they don't try to. So typical pair-up behaviour.
And gone. Eildon Goldens, springtime. A few weeks before Christmas, and there's some of the best inland fishing going in Victoria.
Although Eildon sports a fabulous golden perch fishery, the Murray cod population in the lake has definitely flourished in recent seasons. The Million Murray Cod program, which is funded by our fishing licence fees, ran from 2010 to 2012 with the sole aim of stocking 1 million cod into Lake Eildon. Today I'm where the project began, at Snobs Creek. As hatchery manager here at Snobs Creek, or specifically native fish hatchery manager, the pressure's on because, as we know, in 2010 you embarked on a million cod program in Lake Eildon.
Yep. There are quite a few projects. The Million Murray Cod of Eildon and the Northern Rivers program means that we require more Murray cod. So again, the more that we can produce here, the less we have to purchase in from contractors.
And this is where it all happens. What have we got here? We've got a brood pond.
Yep, these are Murray cod brood ponds. So we put the mature Murray cod male female in there. So we place nesting boxes in the ponds, virtually resembling a hollow log. So the fish will go in there and lay their eggs, and we collect the eggs out of there. Because there's virtually no physical contact with the fish, we don't do any damage. They spawn naturally, and the fertilisation rates are much better.
Okay, so the female gets in this nesting box, thinking it's a log, lays their eggs on the bottom of it, the males come in, fertilise them, and then how do you get them from here into your hatchery?
What we do, we check the nesting boxes at the right times of year, around that November period, 3 times a week. We collect the eggs Eggs are laid onto a gauze inside the box. So we collect the egg off the gauze, just this piece, take it up to the hatchery and incubate.
Like a fly wire screen, they stick to the fly wire screen and you just transport that into the hatchery.
So we put them straight into water so they're not out in the sun or in the wind, and transport to the hatchery and incubate.
Mate, as you can see in here, you've got a million cicadas going nuts here at the moment.
Quite a few spectators, yeah.
Yeah, the guys, we're in late November, early December, so the cod have just bred. You've collected the eggs, they're in the hatchery. Let's go and have a look at them.
From the brood ponds that we just witnessed outside, we collect the eggs on this is the gauze that we took out from the nesting box. Once the female goes into the box and lays the eggs, the males have about 2 minutes to fertilise the eggs, and that's it, she's all over. So we collect the eggs on the gauze, cut them to a set size on a template, which gives us an estimation of the number of eggs. We then put the eggs on the gauze into our incubators. These have a sloping bottom, so when the larvae hatch, they'll drop to the bottom and flow out with the water, and we harvest on the outside. So as you can see, this is the incubation tub. With vigorous aeration and water flow, the plumbing's set up so that as the fish harvest in the corner, they lift out and drain it there. We don't have to touch anything, all through gravity. Once the larvae are collected into here, into the baskets, we take them from there into the larval rearing room under fairly strict conditions.
So Steve, obviously a quarantine area. You don't want any bugs or diseases to get in to affect the growth of the native fish.
This is the one point that can impact our whole production if we have problems in here, so we keep it clean.
Steve, from the incubation room, the little Murray cod fry come into here. What's this room?
This is a larval rearing room where we hold the fish until they're ready to feed.
Yep.
They'll live on their own yolk sac for about 10 days. By the time they finish the 10 days, they've developed their bottom jaw and attack and they're ready to feed. So we produce live feed and feed them on live feed.
Right, okay. And obviously, because you're harvesting the eggs over a 3 to 4 week period, there's various stages of advancement of the fry down these tanks.
Yep.
Here you're saying they've just come in a day ago?
Yes.
So they're very small. Here, they're maybe about a week old, I think. And then in the tank up there, they're ready to go into the growing pond. So you actually harvest them here after about how long?
Normally about 8 to 10 days after they've hatched, but these ones are held back a little bit now because we've got a beautiful problem that all our ponds are full. So it's a perfect problem to have. Yeah.
So hopefully you're progressing towards that 500,000 Murray cod for this year.
That's the aim.
Cool. So when they leave here, they're maybe what, 2 mil long, 5 mil long?
Yeah, so they're about 4 or 5 mil long now.
4 or 5 mil, and then they go into the ponds outside.
Yep.
And then you grow them to
about that 50 mil mark, 40 to 50 mil.
And then from there, harvest them, and they go out into the lakes and rivers throughout Victoria.
Yes, great.
Let's go have a look in the pond.
Thank you.
Steve, your cicada activity has got anything to do with fish activity. We're going to have a cracker of an afternoon out in the lake. Now, what have we got here? This is your plankton pond, which is where all the
Murray cod larvae, or the fry are in here. These are where they're grown to about 50 mil.
Yep.
So these are about halfway through their time. So another couple of
So
weeks
once they get into this pond, which is a pretty big pond, they're just feeding naturally.
Yeah.
And you're trying to grow them from around about the 6 mil mark through to about 60 millimetres.
50 mil, yeah.
50 to 60. So what do you got here, Steve?
Just a little sample net for some of our Murray cod.
Oh, just see if we've got some coming on.
Yeah. There might be a few fish in there.
So obviously got an aerator there which just gets the oxygen level up in the pond.
24 hours a day aerated.
Okay.
It's also for the mixing of the water as well.
Yep. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I can see some in there. That's cool.
Little Murray cod.
There you go.
They'd be probably close to 40 mil.
40?
35.
Okay. So they're about 80% of the way there.
Yeah.
Okay.
In time-wise, it's about probably 50%. So another 3 weeks they'll be out, I'd say.
Okay. So you harvest them in another 3 weeks and then stock them into the lakes.
Yeah.
And how many would be in this pond?
75,000.
75,000.
Yeah. That's what went in. So hopefully close to that comes back out.
Oh, okay. So what's the return rate?
It's really variable.
Okay.
It can be from 0 to 100%, and in all honesty, we try and aim for about 80%.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Well, there you have it. Murray cod. I think we'd better get out on the lake and see if we can catch ourselves a larger cousin of one of these. So yesterday we casted a couple of snags that had fallen into the water. What we're doing this morning is drifting down a bank using the wind to push us along, and we're just going to prospect just all the way along.
And whilst yesterday we cast a bit at visible timber on the bank, there's timber along all of these rocky walls.
All the way along here, yeah.
And I suspect a lot of fish that come from this bank drifting are coming off good structure that we never see.
Yeah.
You might come back at the end of summer and it's dropped 20%, and you can have a good look at some of these banks and you'll see the timber, and I suspect that a lot of fish are coming off those.
Yeah. You can see where we're going to drift down here.
So it's speculating a bit, but you're speculating with a bit of strategy in mind too.
Now Mark, I know Eildon's got a small natural population of Murray cod, so how do you tell what works the best, your stockings or natural recruitment?
We mark the fish bill, we put them in a bar of food dye. It's called Classon, and it leaves a mark on the ear bone. So we're going to take some samples of some cod that are about the size we think would be from our stocking ears, and we're going to see what percentage of those fish have the mark.
I reckon it'll be 90 or higher.
I suspect you're right, but this will give us the definitive answer, because it's really everyone's best guess. But it's fair to say that before we got really serious about stocking Eildon, it wasn't the cod fishery that it is today. A couple of big submerged logs, and at this water level will be ideal for floating hard bodies.
So you're not going to fish a spinnerbait?
I'm not fishing a spinnerbait or a lipless bill. I know there are fish here, I know there's exceptional habitat, and a floating hard body gives me the reversibility. I can stop winding and I can back out of snags, whereas I'm much more committed with the sinking lures.
Mate, I'll sit back here and let's see what you can do.
All right. Murray cod just love timber, so we're going to put in 10 minutes here and see if we can't seduce one out from the depths. We certainly started that million Murray cod stocking program at a really fortunate time after the 2010 rains and the lake filled and the productivity in the shallows, and then we put in 333,000 cod plus the 50 we normally put in. The timing couldn't have been better. Yep, on.
Got him, good one.
I think it's a green fish. It's a nice one.
Perfect.
Keep him out of that shrubbery.
Nice.
So
all of 60, mate. Good on you.
He'd have to be at least 60, wouldn't he?
Absolutely. Now, I'd say he's not one of your million fish. He's probably a little bit too advanced for that, but you've been stocking Murray cod here for about 10 years in Eildon.
Oh, look, at least.
So
even before the million started, I think we'd put in close to 900,000 anyway.
That's right.
So,
around about 50, 60,000 a year.
So there you go. That's what the fuss is about. Beautiful Murray cod.
That's awesome, mate. Clear water, snag.
So he's about 67, I think, Bill.
Yeah, he's up there, 67, just under 70. Nice fish.
Maybe
as a manager here for Lake Eildon, fisheries manager, you've got to be happy with that.
Look, this is what we're aiming to create. Spending licence money, stocking fish, growing cod like that, so anglers, families, children.
And a lot of people, if they don't realise, a great majority of the population here in Lake Eildon is stocked. I'd say that's probably 2 seasons outside of the million. And of course the million, you were doing 300,000 a year.
333,000
a
plus
year.
The 50 we'd normally put in.
Yeah, that's right. So this would be one of those 50 from probably 208, 209,
something like that, yeah.
Who knows? And true to your form, mate.
Well, once
exactly what you said happened.
Once you know where they live,
yeah,
and you have a bit of success with those sort of strategies,
absolutely,
then these fish are within anyone's grasp. Well, we've got a few photos, Bill, and I think it's time to let him go.
Yeah. Here he goes again. Lures in Eildon. If it's purple, it's probably right. Good one. Probably right. Mate, thank you very much.
Been a pleasure.
The man who not only catches the fish, you also stock them in the lake.
I certainly help and help promote it to anglers so everyone can come and do what we've done.
Absolutely. Well, yesterday we saw Steve Vidler. We saw how you breed the fish there, how you breed the cod, and today how to catch them. Thanks again.
Pleasure, Bill.
It's Bill Classon here from The Fishing Show, and if you like this instructional video and want to learn more, it's simple. Go to fishingshowtv.com.au and see a whole host of additional videos.